Hello, I'm Susan Cadeau. Thank you for being with us. Oklahoma is approaching another #1 ranking. A new study from the Pew Charitable Trust finds the state is second in the nation for the number of people behind bars on drug charges. The report finds that states that have reformed their criminal justice systems are actually making a difference in the so-called war on drugs.
In 1980, nationwide, there were less than 25,000 people in prison for drug crimes. Now there are more than 300,000. A new study from the Pew Charitable Trust has identified why those numbers exploded and how to begin bringing those numbers down while improving people's lives. More than 30 states have begun reforming their criminal justice systems, including Oklahoma, even though here that's a process that has barely just begun.
We're just on the cusp of seeing the conversation transition and more individuals, more leaders in the community, more state leaders, more business leaders begin to understand the value in taking a different approach.
Former House Speaker Chris Steele has devoted his life after politics to helping people and pushing for criminal justice reform.
This mindset of punishment and mass incarceration as a deterrent for a person who has a health issue is not working.
Adam Gelb is director of the Pew Trust Public Safety Performance Project and oversaw development of the new study. Gelb says their research clearly found that despite a quadrupling of the nation's prison population, there has been no concurrent impact on drug arrests, drug use, or drug overdoses.
With almost 1 in 100 adults behind bars and states spending $50 billion on corrections, that there are better, more effective, and less expensive ways to deal with a lot of these lower-level offenders.
A survey of Oklahomans for the study found that 84% believe prison sentences for nonviolent offenders should be shortened and any savings reinvested in probation, parole, and drug treatment. Another 86% favored allowing people on probation or parole the chance to reduce their supervision periods through good behavior and taking part in substance abuse or mental health treatment programs.
You don't find 84% agreement on many issues in this country these days, but this has been the case now with respect to criminal justice reform and particularly drugs for several years now.
For now, Oklahoma has the second highest drug imprisonment rate in the nation and more than 8,000 prisoners behind bars, 10th for its overdose death rate and 10th for its adult illicit drug use rate. According to the study, Oklahoma already leads all surrounding states in the imprisonment rate, and for drug use, it comes in second in drug overdoses and the drug arrest rate. Chris Steele says it will be difficult to refute the study's findings.
The conclusions are based on data and research and facts, factual, empirical information, not emotion and anecdotes and fear.
And based upon the facts, Oklahoma's approach to drug use is the wrong one.
The report says clearly states that have taken a certain approach have made better use of the resources within their state, and they've achieved better outcomes in the way of reducing crime and helping people who need help.
Providing that help is a stressed and underfunded network of agencies like A Chance for Change, a nonprofit agency that provides services to addicts, the mentally ill, and those with behavioral disorders. Iona Cunningham is the assistant clinical director and a mental health and substance abuse therapist.
Through prevention with children, going all the way up to the offender in the sense of them also being able to provide them with individual, family, and group counseling, as well as the family members and the children as well.
That is the kind of treatment program the Pew Report recommends, along with increased use of prison diversion programs and mental health and drug courts.
We see more change with those kind of systems, as well as the wraparound programs that our agency and other community agencies like A Chance to Change offer.
Joe Dorman, executive director of the Oklahoma Institute for Child Advocacy, knows that locking people up on low-level drug charges is also damaging an entire younger generation.
When 1 in 10 kids in Oklahoma has a parent currently in prison or who has been in prison, we're doing something wrong.
Instead, Dorman says the survey from the Pew Trust recommends exactly what the state should be doing.
That would do much better for the kids of Oklahoma if we correct those irresponsible behaviors that we have seen passed in policy and law throughout the years in the legislature.
Like Chris Steele, Iona Cunningham believes Oklahoma has started down the right road, especially with passage of State Questions 780 and 781 last November.
By those little pieces, those little footsteps that everyone is creating, my hope is that our lawmakers and our policymakers see that the overall majority of Oklahoma wants to see this change.
In 2015, researchers found that 75% of everyone who was sent to prison in Oklahoma were sentenced for a nonviolent offense. Of those, 80% were on drug charges, and for 80% of them, it was their first or second trip to prison, and a disproportionate number of them were from communities of color. Oklahoma's current prison system is at 107% of capacity.